Good evening. My name is Nick Pearson and I'm a special reporter for Monash University 60 Minutes. Tonight I'm joined with Mason Rogers, a special incident controller for floods and natural disasters here in Australia. Mason, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Oh, no worries, Nick. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Mason, my first question for you tonight is based around the potential areas which can be affected here in Australia. Could you briefly describe for us how your plans for implementing aid distribution work?
Well, Nick, the way we go about planning is that in the instance of a large-scale flood, establishing a network of transportation of goods and people which covers the affected area is a main priority. Having a large network means that control of resources, whether they be human or simply physical goods, is often difficult. We would seek the assistance and participation of a wide range of emergency services like fire, ambulance and police. Considerations could also be made for calling in military assistance.
Mason, thank you very much for that great response. I'll jump into my second question, and that's based around the communication that you use in a disaster. Can you please talk about how you ensure communication is consistent and continuous and also secure during a disaster?
Well, look, mate, often during natural disasters, certain lines of communication are vulnerable to being overwhelmed by traffic like phone towers or by physical damage. As a team, we want to establish and use a secure communication network that will operate in any physical environment. As such, we deploy a satellite communication as our primary tool to ensure that all relevant parties are informed of situation updates.
Thank you very much, Mason, for that great answer. I'll jump straight into my third question for you tonight. Historically, the people of Victoria have been very generous with their money and physical good donations. What systems do you have in place to manage the monetary donations that occur in the immediate aftermath of a large-scale natural disaster?
You're right in saying that we have many donors, Nick, and it's great to have so many donations coming in. In order to manage this cash inflow, we prepare budgets which clearly identify areas that need prioritising. Obviously, we don't just hand out cash to the people affected by the disaster because they'll have nowhere to spend it. Instead, the budget will detail resources purchased with the cash, such as food, shelter, and medical supplies.
Thank you again, Mason, for that fantastic answer. My fourth and final question for you tonight is a tough one. Often in large-scale natural disasters, there are often reported cases of people who try to exploit the generosity of the relief system, of the many great Australians who donate. What safeguards would a system under your management have in place to prevent these things from occurring?
Now, I've got to say, that's a great question, Nick, because security is an imperative part of any disaster relief response. We want to ensure that the public, who have been so incredibly generous with their money and goods, that it is being handled in an honest manner. Things we establish to safeguard material include using secure and monitored facilities for housing and of donated material. For the security of monetary donations, the way we handle any payments is through an authorization process which involves separation of duties, the person authorizing payments and the person writing the order. An example of this would be through one person raising a purchase order for camp beds at a relief station, with the purchase order then being approved by a disaster controller such as myself.
Mason, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Oh, no worries, mate. Honestly, I'll take any opportunity to build the public's confidence in the disaster response systems which we have in place.
Tonight, we've learned from Mason 4 key components of Victoria's emergency response to floods. Firstly, the establishment of an effective and efficient distribution network of donated resources. Secondly, the setup of a secure, dependable communication system. Thirdly, the correct prioritisation of cash and its expenditure. And finally, the important aspect of security. Thank you very much.